King Canada has been bringing quality machinery, tools, and equipment to the North American market for over 38 years. They offer innovative products for all applications, for the industrial and commercial setting, as well as the homeowner and hobbyist. King Canada is a sponsor of the Newfoundland Hobbyist. Hey, welcome back to another video. We have something real exciting here today, I think. I think you guys are really going to like this. We've got some saving to do. I was contacted about last January, I believe, to take on a commission project to restore 3 kitchen knives. A gentleman bought his wife a set of kitchen knives back when they were first married nearly 20 years ago. They've used these knives ever since, and it's coming up on, I think, their 20th anniversary, something like that there now. But now 20 years later, he wanted those knives restored, new handles on, cleaned up and sharpened to give back to her on the 20th anniversary, as I understand it. He sought out another maker, another knife maker, another knife worker, and I believe he's very sorry he did so, because it took, for one, it took an entire year, and two, the work he got back, I don't think he's very pleased with. Now, I saw a couple pictures, but I don't know all the details. So we're gonna have a look here today. We're gonna have a look at the handle replacements and cleanup work by another maker, and I think we're gonna try to correct these sad errors. Knife number 1. Improperly sharpened here. I'm not sure who did the sharpening work, but have a look at this handle. Oh, that breaks my heart. I don't know what's going on under here. I'm seeing like a break in the tang here, so I don't know why that is. That is brutal work. I hope that's the worst of it. The next one, we have kind of a slicer style knife. I don't know if you can see that writing there, but these are beautiful knives. These are Wusthof, made in Germany. This is a beautiful knife set, which I'm sure is why our friend here wants these saved. They're precious knives. They're heirloom knives at this point. Oh. What on earth? How does this happen? And the last knife here, again, beautiful chef's knife. Look at the profile of this knife. Very thin. This is a lovely knife. But look at this handle. Looks like a disappearing tang here. We've just this has been chomped in here. This should follow back, but there's some bad divots, so we've got some problems right off the get-go. Who knows how much damage we have caused by the maker here. Okay, let's start digging in here and see what we can find. I'm a little bit nervous about this break in the tang, whatever's going on back here. That's why the break in the tang. There is no tang there. Looks like the tang was rusted out, which I've seen happen with these before. We'll have to see if we can properly weld and bridge that. Okay, we've carved and chopped at these. I still don't have a great idea of a blank slate here. We've got to get them down to that stage. Oh boy, what a mess. I'm thinking we might have to shorten the tang of this one a little bit. I'm gonna have to clean off. I don't know what I'm seeing there, if that's a little bit of solder or maybe the guy tried to repair this. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and grind these all down so we have blank slates and we can see what we have to work with. Turn that juice down. We really don't want a lot here. This is a thin piece of steel. A little bit of 1/16 filler, 3/32 rod. It's just very light. We don't want to drive much heat into that blade, remember.
From brutal offshore drilling platforms all the way to the homeowner and hobbyist, Lincoln Electric's 125 years of experience provides the quality you need to get the job done right. The Newfoundland Hobbyist is sponsored by Lincoln Electric.
Chef's knife, not much of a tang here. You can see where this was chopped out by the last maker. This should be a nice smooth. We should have just a little more steel here. So we'll have to take the whole back of the tang, just slightly reprofile, probably starting right here, bring it down so it's flush cut here with this one. The chef's knife, we have those notches in there. Use the TIG to fill that in so we can do a proper, notice our tang now. We have a proper full tang. And they make synthetic handles from the factory, of course. They mold them. They're plastic molded. So they can put all those little notches in, their little grooves that fit, but that's hard for someone to custom make. There's no need of that. So give us a better look to do a full tang design all the way around. And then the most dramatic transformation, this little one here. See, we did a TIG weld here. Nice and clean. I've ground it in. We filled in a notch back here as well. This is a nice and strong here now. Everything is good. So this should be good for another lifetime use. So this one will just get a standard tang construction. Fairly simple from here on out. This one, a little bit more work. But look at this handle. Looks like a disappearing tang here. We chose that beautiful curly maple there. You see what we did with the tang? So this tang, remember, only went this far when we inserted a red micarta liner, which I just think looks really pretty. That curly maple, really beautiful as well. Check out the handle on the slicer here. That's how it all should look. Look at that. Look at that beautiful pattern on curly maple. Isn't that gorgeous? And then this one might have been in the worst condition overall. Oh, that breaks my heart. Remember, this tang was actually completely broken. Zero evidence of that now. This blade tapers in a little bit. That's why you're seeing a hairline gap right there. Well, it's not a gap. It's actually filled with epoxy, but it looks like a gap because it's dark. Have a look at that tang we filled in. Right now we're going to start with a 240 grit ceramic stone. This is a Sigma Power Select 2, I believe. This is a very, very aggressive stone. We're going to use this one just because we have that old fatigued edge on the knife. We want to carve away all that old steel, the old fragmented and fractured and distressed steel, and start with some brand new stuff. This is a very thirsty stone. Now, I wouldn't normally tape off a knife handle, but since we just made these, and this is going to be a pretty aggressive sharpening session, I went ahead and taped it up just to protect it. I don't want to be scratching up that buffed finish too much if I get any grit or get some dirty hands here. One last little bit of water. We'll need lots more of that throughout the sharpening process. What you want to do now is find your angle. Now, you can get little clip-on edge guides and different things like that. You can measure and get an idea. If you're dealing with a factory edge knife, something brand new, you can work to find that. But in this case, this is a knife that doesn't really have any factory edge anymore. So we're going to reestablish an edge so we get to pick our angle. Now, you can watch videos, you can look at pictures to get an idea what that looks like. Usually it looks like something around 20 degrees, maybe a little bit less. For a bigger knife like this, it's still got a little bit of heft to it. So we're going to pick our angle here. We're just going to work on maintaining that angle. I like to have two hands on the knife, one on the tip, one on the rear like this to keep nice even pressure all the way. With one hand, you're doing a lot of flexing in the knife and you don't get as much control, I find. So once we find that angle that we like, we're just going to start working. And some people will say only do cutting strokes. Some people will say only do stropping style strokes. Back and forth is fine. You don't need to keep resetting your angle. Just help yourself out by just locking your arms and your wrists into position. Notice nothing is bending here. My fingers aren't moving around, my hands aren't moving around, my wrists aren't bending. Everything is really nice and stiff as we work on this stone. Now, I've brought you over by the window here, so hopefully you can see a little better. You can see those threads there now. That is because we have such a strong apex that we have a burr. Now, you're not seeing the actual burr there. When I wiped it with a towel, there's enough burr. I can feel it with my finger. You can be trained to feel that just from experience. But a very clear sign when we wiped it with a microfiber towel, it grabbed up all those fibers. Okay, here we go. This is a beautiful stone. If you are looking for a starter set, that Sigma we used in the beginning there is a bit too aggressive. This stone, although it cuts quite well, performance is really good. It is just such a user-friendly stone, just such a great experience. I really love it. That's the Kuramaku Blue Black with a 320 grit. Up to a Shapton Glassstone 1000. This is stone number 2 I recommend you get. Look at that. This stone is just mesmerizing. The performance is so good. Again, nice and rigid, holding that angle. $2,000 grit, nanowatt Aotoshi. Look at the size of this monster. Nice cleanup, although this one doesn't tend to gum up easily. Gets a little cruddy after a while, but the Nagura also does a nice job on this one, building up a good slurry. Look at that. And repeat. Ooh, that edge is feeling nice there now. One quick little test there for you before we go. Beautiful.
Century Welding is an online Canadian outlet for premier welding and cutting machines, equipment, and related accessories and replacement parts. Shop for your welding machines and accessories, consumables, and even your safety apparel. The Newfoundland Hobbyist is sponsored by Century Welding.
Okay, we're ready to go. Here we have the Edge Pro. Now the Edge Pro is a guided system. So instead of laying your stone down, we move our knife freehand. We call that freehand sharpening. We use a guided system. So your knife stays in place. We move the stone and our angle is fixed. The beauty of a guided system is that it takes a lot less time initially to get good results. When you first pick up whetstone sharpening, like we did in previous videos, it can take some time to get results that you're really happy with and proud of. With the Edge Pro, it comes pretty much right away. As long as you use the stones and sharpen until you get to an actual apex, you're going to get results that you're really pleased with. And I'm going to show you how this one works today. Now we're not going to spend a ton of time on how the Edge Pro works. We're going to spend most of our time using it. But basically you have this rod that holds stones. The stones lock in to a dovetail type joint. You can see here, thread it down just like that. Your knife sits right here, and depending on the size of knife you have, you can adjust this slider. So if we were going to do our big chef's knife on here, which you can do, you would slide this way down. But for this little knife, we're going to come way up like this. Now, to adjust our angle of sharpening, do you see how this changes our angle of approach to our edge? So you basically just pick an angle you like, leave it there, and you work through changing your stones. Now this is the Edge Pro Apex. So the Apex refers to the chassis, but this is the Apex number 4 kit. And what the different numbers apply to is what you get with the kit. So that would have come with a basic set of stones right here. I also have the polishing tapes and the billets to go with those, so that gets us up to 6,000 grit, which is really incredible. I also have the diamond matrix stones, but those are an add-on, an accessory. You can buy all kinds of goodies and stuff, attachments, scissor sharpening attachment, all kinds of goodies for the Edge Pro. But today we're going to stick with these here and some polishing tapes. We're also going to be using a strop. I always strop my edges before I'm done, and you can get a beautiful leather strop just like this on my website. It's my favorite size and design. We have a finished side piece of leather here, nice and thick, gives you a little bit of compression, but it's a hard tooling leather, so it's just perfect in my opinion. You can use it with a fresh side just like this, clean, or you're able to add some compound as well, backed on a nice piece of pine. Basically our whole goal at this point is just to sharpen until we form an apex, and that is to bring two edges together, two planes. So we're sharpening here a single plane. Let's have a look. Now we have accomplished our task. We've formed an apex. We've brought those two planes together all the way along. I have a microscope here let's go ahead and take a look. I'll show you what the result is when you bring those two edges together with a coarse stone like that. Now have a look at that toothy bird edge, actually up near the toe of the knife, the point. I have a much coarser burn. You can see it's grabbed all kinds of fibers there from my shop towel. So really we've already done the heavy lifting. We'll switch out a stone now, we'll start refining. Okay, we'll quickly remove that one and go to our next stone in sequence, which is a 400 grit. I love 400 grit. 400 grit sandpaper. I use a lot of sandpaper here in the shop with my line of work, and 400 has to be my favorite. So let's get to work. We'll start off with back and forth scratches. Trying to use all of our stone, gotta remember that. We'll use back and forth strokes until we get to the end. So again, working to remove the scratches from the last stone. The Apex 4 kit offers a lot of little baby steps, so you really don't need to spend a whole lot of time on each stone, which is really useful for the life of your stones. You're not working and working and working on a single grit to try to get that next step up. The next step after that 1000 is we have some polishing tapes here. Now when I first saw these I was really impressed with them, the different grits. We have, I wrote down here, sometimes I forget because it's not written on them, but the blue are 2000 grit, the yellow is 3000, and the gray is 6,000. We have some fine surface billets here. These are the same as the backing for the stones. We just stick our tapes on. We can go ahead and stick all three on right now, and these will fit in and work the same way as the stones will. We'll go ahead now with the 2000 first, which is again a nice little step from the 1000. Now you don't necessarily need water for these polishing tapes, although you can. Maybe we'll throw a little bit of water on there. It doesn't loosen the backing or anything, and you can definitely hear and feel the big texture change. These polishing tapes are really, really nice material. Now we'll remove the 2000, go up to the 3000 yellow. As you can see by the microscope there, we're getting a real nice finish now. Now we're moving up to the 6000 grit. This tape here has almost no texture, really smooth. I'll add just a little bit of water just to grease it up a little bit. We'll just do a few finishing passes on this edge. Very light here now. These tapes can be easy to cut if you go putting a lot of pressure on, but you can see I don't even need to hold the knife with the little amount of pressure I'm using. And there is the finished result of the 6000 grit. You can still see, of course, you could spend a lot more time on there and you would eventually remove all those scratches, but that's plenty of good surface. But have a look at the polish on that edge. It can be a little bit hard to convey, but... And now for the very last stage here, I never finish an edge without doing a little bit of stropping first. A piece of leather. Even just a beautifully finished piece of leather like this. Actually, you can, a little trick my friend taught me, with straight razors, barbers used to just kind of use their hands on them, a few rubs each time they pick it up, because the oils from your skin works into the leather, and you just keep reconditioning that leather. Barbers' straps back in the day, when they'd go over to the wall and give their razor a few passes, they work their hand, a little bit of oils from their skin. So you can do that And a nice, just non-compounded, no polishing compound there, just a fresh strop like this can really do a lot of good for an edge and just helping just that last little bit of refinement. Of course, if you want to work a little bit of rouge or something in there as well, you could. But even just like this, just refines that, and it'll just give us a viciously sharp edge. You can pick these up at my website if you're interested. We'll ship them out to you anywhere in the world. And that will be the last of this little series. We refinished our chef's knife, our carving knife, and now our paring knife, using a variety of different tools, techniques, and sharpening methods.
This project would have been way outside my capabilities just a few years ago. The amount of work, the different types of jobs that this project required, the skill set, the tool set, would have been far outside my capabilities. But you don't start at projects like this, at least not on other people's knives. The work you see here is a culmination of years of practice of my craft, of learning a whole bunch of different skill sets that I can now assemble and tackle a big project like this. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're inspired to get out there and learn more and to do more on your own, to take up new hobbies and try new things. I want to give one last shout out to my sponsors who help make this show possible. Thank you all so much for watching this episode, and as always, make sure you tune in next week to the Newfoundland Hobbyist.
Beautiful.